another applied music theory tutorial session. I'm your presenter, Oren Thomas, and we're going to have a lot of fun today. Today's class is going to be very packed. We're going to be talking mainly about the piano. So what I want you guys to do, the first thing I want you to do, in order to start this class, you will need to have the following items. You need to have, one, a piano or a device that you can play a piano on. So if you're watching this on your cell phone, it's going to be pretty difficult for you. It's going to be rough. Ideally, the ideal situation would be for you to be watching it like you're watching it here on a laptop. You have a laptop here and then you're around the keyboard, so you're following with me as I'm going along. But most people might not have a piano or a keyboard. So what you can do right now, I'm going to give you 5 minutes to do this. Just go to Play Store, or if you have an Apple phone, you go to Apple Store. Is Apple Store near you? I don't remember, but you know what it is. You go to your different store and you're going to download. I'm going to do it right now to see how long it takes. So you're going to go to Play Store. Where is Play Store on my phone? Got it. And then you're going to type in piano. You need a piano app for this class because I want everybody to be following along. I want everybody to be playing along. I want everybody to be understanding. So you're going to go to App Store. You're going to type in piano. And then what I want you to download is Perfect Piano. On Play Store, you'll see this app called Perfect Piano. I don't know if it's there on Apple Store, but they should have some piano apps there as well. Perfect Piano, you go to download, and it should be downloading now. You just click install. It will install automatically on your device because I really want everybody to be participating in this class. So we had kind of introduced the piano a couple weeks ago. Last week, I remember you did a test. I hope everybody got full marks on the test. So we had kind of introduced piano. So today, what we're really going to do is delve right in. We're going to go further in using the piano, of course. We're mainly talking about theory, but it's kind of hard to talk about theoretical aspects without showing it on a piano or showing it on some kind of instrument. So we'll be looking at some concepts within the context of the piano, showing it on the piano, how it would apply to the piano, and all of that good stuff. So we'll just be doing a quick review of what we did the previous class, intervals, and then we'll be going into the main stuff for today. But before we get into the lesson, we're going to start with a word of prayer. Will you bow your heads with me as we pray? Kind, gracious Father, we thank you so much for today. We thank you for life. We thank you for health and strength, and for carrying us here once more to another theory tutorial session to learn more about music, and in so doing to learn more about you, Lord, because we know that you are the giver of all good gifts, and music is, for me, one of the greatest gifts that you have ever given us. And so, Lord, we ask that you will continue to be with us. We ask that you will continue to keep us safe and open the minds of all the viewers, all the listeners, so that they may grasp the concepts and they'll be able to apply them wherever necessary. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. All right, so as I said before, we'll be going through a quick review of intervals. The first thing I should note, in your intervals, wherever you wrote your notes for your intervals, you're going to add something, because I don't know if I had said this in the intervals class, but you're going to add this. So first things first. You're going to add that. So here it will be. We're going to put the note here. You're going to add. So remember we had spoken about the fact that you can have perfect intervals, which would be the fourths, the fifths, and the unisons. And then you can have everything else. You can have major and minor, right? So seconds, you have minor second, major second. Thirds, you have minor third, major third. Sixth and seventh. So they apply for thirds, seconds, sixths, and sevenths. You can also have diminished. So this is what you're going to add now. You can also have diminished thirds, and you can also have augmented thirds. So all the basic, not just thirds, all the intervals that can be major or minor can also be augmented or diminished. And this is how they would work. So let's say you have, let me show it on the keyboard. So if we can just go to the keyboard screen, I'm going to show it on the keyboard so that we don't have to spend a lot of time really explaining it. All right, so let's say we have C. We know that C to E is a third. See there, C, major third, major third. When you go down, you'll go minor third. Don't worry about that name that you see there on the screen. C to E flat is a minor third. So how would I make a minor diminished now? You would just go down one more time. So you would call that, in music, we would call that E double flat. E double flat. So C to E, major third. C to E flat, minor third. C to E double flat, diminished third. So a diminished interval is lower than a minor. It's one semitone lower than a minor interval. And then the same principle applies for the augmented interval. So if you go to a major and then you raise it again or you sharp it, you'd say flatten. Flatten means lower and sharp means raise. Remember from accidentals we have flat means low, sharp means raise. And you'd call that an augmented third. So C to E, major third. C to E sharp. Don't worry about the name again. You'll see perfect fourth. That's just how the software names it. But C to E sharp. E sharp is the same thing as F. You would learn that in your piano class where we talk about enharmonic terms. E sharp is the same note as F, right? And you see it there on the keyboard. E sharp, there's no black key in between E and F. So E sharp would have to be F. But if we're naming it within the context of intervals, E sharp would be an augmented third. We get that? So let me just draw it real quick on the board. So add. So this is what you're going to add. Minor and major intervals. Let's just put int for intervals. Can also be augmented, AUG for short, or diminished, or dim for short. All right. So this is the order in which it would work. So you have diminished is the lowest one, and these are the symbols we use for it. You can draw this table here, because when we get to chords, we'll be using more of that. So the symbol for diminished, remember I said we're going quickly, we're just doing a quick review of intervals because we have a lot to cover. The symbol for diminished is a little circle. The symbol for minor is M. The symbol for major is a big M, minor, little m, major, big M, or some people would put MAJ. It's really interchangeable, and the symbol for augmented is a plus. So this is the order. So you can have a diminished third, which would be E, let's say, okay, in the context of C, let's use this here, because I have this already. So in the context of C, E is the third, right? E is the third, yeah? E, third. If you flatten the third, you have a minor third. If you flatten it again, so this is called a double flat. Like where am I going to put this now? Let's put it here. Let's put it right here. Let's put it right here. So this is the term you would use. You go double flat. For double flat, you have a diminished interval. For a flattened third or a flattened sixth or whatever interval can be minor, major. You know that there's second, third, sixth, and seventh. I'm not going to go over that. And then the major would be probably the natural. And then the augmented may be sharp. Why you draw sharp again? Oh, this. And then perhaps you may see another sign, a X. This is what we call a double sharp. A double sharp. Now, don't pay too much attention to these terms. I'm just kind of going over. I know it's a lot of information to process at one time. Don't really look at this yet. We soon explain all of this right here, all right? Just look at this little section right here. This is what you should be focusing on right now. and trying to wrap your heads around this. So let's go through that one more time. Let's go through that one more time, and then we'll go through this table, and then we'll finish with intervals. All right? So let me use another interval now. Let's use an interval of a sixth. We're in the key of C. So back to the computer screen. So this is C, middle C, interval. You see there come up, major sixth. So C to A, major sixth. If we go C to A sharp, on the key it says, let me see if I can change this real quick to show the sharps. Display sharps, good. So C to A sharp, as we know, B flat and A sharp are the same keys. C to A sharp is an augmented sixth. It's an augmented sixth. C to A is a major sixth. Seeing how it works now? Then C to A flat is a minor sixth. And then C to A double flat, which would automatically be G, is a diminished sixth. Got that? Augmented sixth, major sixth, minor sixth, diminished sixth. Augmented, major, minor, diminished. Augmented, major, minor, diminished. Just remember that. Augmented, major, minor, diminished. Augmented, major, minor, diminished. Good. So that's the order that would go. You can make a song out of it if you want. All right, so that is how they work. And remember, perfect intervals can only be augmented or diminished. Good? All right, so let's look at this now. Let's look at this little table that we have here and kind of figure out what's going on. So at this here note, minor and major intervals can also be augmented or diminished. And this is explaining it. Let's look at this. I'm not going to rub that off yet. You can write it down. So, last week we introduced, not last week, a couple weeks ago, we introduced this concept of half step or semitone and whole step or tone. Right. So, these, what we're talking about, number of steps, these are half steps. Good? You can take off this table. It's quite useful for understanding intervals. I think I had shown it before, but I had done it within the context of C. I had done it within the context of the letters and not the number of steps. So you should have a similar table to this, but it should be C, C to C, C to D, C to E, C to F, and then you see the different intervals. So now we're going to differentiate between the intervals in a little bit more detail, kind of doing a review and kind of strengthening your understanding of intervals a bit more. So, if we go up one step, I'm going to explain this and then I'm going to show it on the keyboard. So, if we go from, say we'll go from C to C sharp, C to D flat. C to C sharp would be an augmented unison. C to D flat, that's one key above, would be a minor second. So that would be one step. Then we'll go two steps, that would be a major second. If we go three steps, that would be a minor. Remember the symbol for minor is little m. We just said that. Minor third, little m3. Then if we go four steps, we go big M3, major third. So minor second, one step. Major second, two steps. Minor third, three steps. Major third, four steps. We're going to see this on the piano very quickly, very soon. Remember, you should have your piano apps open, or you should be around your keyboards looking at it. Perfect fourth, P4, means perfect fourth. 5 steps. Augmented fourth or diminished fifth, we know that they're enharmonic, they're the same. 6 steps, and so on and so forth. 7 steps, perfect fifth. 8 steps, augmented fifth or minor sixth. 9 steps, major sixth. 10 steps, minor seventh. 11 steps, major seventh. And if we go 12 steps, that's a full octave. Let's put that there. Octave, right? If you want to put the 12 steps. So let us look on the keyboard now and see if we can see the steps. And I want you to count the steps with me. Count the steps with me. If you're adults watching, count the steps like the children. If your children watching, count the steps like yourselves. All right, so let's go back to the computer screen. So we're doing all of this in C. We don't want to go to any other keys to confuse anybody. So home, we call this home for now. All right, C to C sharp. Sorry, C to D flat. Those are C sharp. C to C sharp would be an augmented unison. Remember that. C to D flat, one step. See that? One step. That would be a minor second. C to D, major second. Minor second, major second. Minor second, major second. Minor second, major second. Minor second, major second. All right? Then we go 3 steps. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Count them with me. 1, 2, 3. Minor third. Good? Then we go 1, 2, 3, 4. Major third. 1, 2, 3, 4 steps. Major third. Then we'll go 5 steps. Perfect fourth. You can look back on the table if you have it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect fourth. Then we'll go 6 steps. Augmented fourth. Or diminished fifth. Diminished fifth. A lot of diminished fifth. Then 7 steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 steps gives us a perfect fifth. Just like, you know that they say 7 is the perfect number. 7 steps gives us the perfect fifth. And you'll soon learn about the integral nature of this chord relationship or this tonal relationship. It's a very strong foundational sound. It gives you a very strong sound. All right, let's go back to the screen and look on the rest of the table. So 8 steps gives us an augmented fifth or a minor sixth, as we spoke about that, minor sixth. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah? Minor sixth. Then we'll go 9 steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That gives us a major sixth. Then if we go 10 steps, minor seventh. And 11 steps, major seventh. Good? So you have your table. You have your table. You have 2 ways of remembering it. You can remember it within the context of C to C, or C to D, or C to E, or C to F, or C to D flat, C to E flat, C to F sharp, C to G sharp, because the accidentals are just raising or lowering the pitch, right? Or you can remember it within the context of number of steps. So these just help to strengthen they give you another tool so that you can remember how intervals really work. Why I'm going through intervals. Oren, why are you going through intervals so much? Because a good understanding of intervals, just like our good understanding of the fundamentals of music will help in everything, a good understanding of intervals is integral to everything else. When we talk about building chords, when we talk about naming chords, when we talk about naming scales, which we're going to do right now, you have to understand intervals, all right? So that's why we're just going over it again. All right? So that is intervals. Go through the table, study it, make sure you know them, make sure you know the difference between a perfect fourth and an augmented fourth. Make sure you know the difference between a minor third and a major third. So I don't want to hear anybody saying, I love the minor there. Because now you know what a minor actually is. Okay? It's an interval. It can be minor or major. Minor or major. Minor or major. Or it can be diminished, minor, major, or augmented. Good? So we have that understanding now. That's intervals. Let us move to octave registers. Good? So here the name octave, you probably already kind of figure what it is, because we just said C to C, so C1, C2, and next C is an octave, right? If we've got 12 steps, we get an octave. So, question to the class, question to the listeners. What do you think an octave is? What do you think an octave is? Some of you may already know. If you know the answer, then you can just type it in the chat. Just type in the chat, what is an octave? What is an octave? We're going to go through that right now. So simply put, an octave, we'll say, I'm going to say an octave is a set of 8 notes. Now, this 8, it might be very, very, what you call it, ambiguous. So let me clarify. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. See the set of 8 there? Bam. We call this an octave. Or, within the context of intervals, if we're talking about intervals, an octave is a distance of the eighth. An octave is a distance of the eighth. So remember you have first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth. So it's a distance of the eighth. Right? So it is essentially from one pitch to the other pitch above, or one pitch to the other pitch below. Right? So we could also say, if we're looking at the piano and we're looking at all the keys in between, we could say an octave is a set of 12 notes because you have 12 notes in between. You have C, then C sharp, then D, and all of that is 12 notes in between. But if we are, for this class, let's just say that it's a distance of the eighth, or it's a set of 8 notes. So an octave register now, is simply, octave register, let's define this now. Simple definition is a number that tells you which octave you're on. It just tells you which octave you're on. Which octave, and more specifically now, which C you are on, or which C you are talking about. Let's say which C we are talking about. And I'm going to explain this very, very, very briefly. Which C we are talking about, or which C we're referring to. Now, if you look on the keyboard, let's go to the keyboard for the rest of this explanation. If you look on the keyboard, you'll see, and if you look on the computer screen, you'll see that the C's are labeled. You'll see that the C's are labeled C1, C2, C3, C4, C5, C6, C7, and if you pull this over a little bit more, you'll see C8. See there? C8 up top. So, an octave register, we said an octave register is simply a number that tells us which octave we're talking about. So if I say to you now, play C4 or play middle C, it's this C because you have different numbers on the keyboard. You have a different amount of C's on the piano. So this is why I'm using the piano to kind of explain it, because without the piano you'd kind of just be lost. It's just like, where would I have a C? There's no C in the air for you to just look at. So you have a physical example. If you look on your keyboard, or if you go to church and next time you look on a piano, you'll see it. The piano has 88 keys. A full grand piano has 88 keys. And the first C, if you look at the first C on the piano, remember the C is the left of the 2 black keys. You learn that in your piano class. You learn that in the first class where I introduced the piano. So, if you look on the first C, you'll see A, and then B, and then C. That's how it is on the piano, the full grand piano, right? That C is going to be C1. So the principle is we start numbering at C, and every letter after that C has the same number. Let me write that down. We start numbering at C, and every letter after that has the same number. So let us see about that now. So here's the principle. So let's hear about that. We start numbering 1. We start numbering at C. For octave, this is for octave registers. We start numbering at C. And 2, every letter after that C, after that specific C, let me put that specific C, has the same number. Same number. Until you get to the next C. Right? So it's pretty simple. It's pretty simple. It's not a complex concept at all. So let us say this was a piano. Let's say a bam, 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 bam. Let's put D, E. Let's say this was a piano. See if I can just draw it quickly. You're going to have a black key here, black key here, black key here, black key here, black key, skip, black key, bam, and a black key here. Why that looks so? No, that's wrong. You have it here. Right? Let's say this was a nice little piano there. So we're just drawing a little piano. This piano kind of look weird, but that's okay. So we have C, D, E, F. Remember, E and F don't have any black key in between. Yeah? So let's say this was a piano here. Let us say, let's just take a little chunk out of this. Let us say that this was, for instance, C2, right? Every letter after that C has the same number. So what would this be? D2. Then this would be E2, F2, 2, 2, 2, until we get to the next C, and this C would be C3. And then everything else after this would be D3, E3, F3, and until we get to C4. Getting the principle? So everything behind here would be, if we had B here, this would be B1. Then you'd have A1. Then you'd have G1. And so on and so forth, going back this way. Yeah? We're going back that way, everything other. And you'd see it, right? So that is the principle of octave registers. It's basically a number that tells you which octave we're talking about. A practical application for octave registers. Now, we're going to look at a practical application for octave registers. But before we get to that, we're going to take a short break, and then we'll be right back after this break. So stay tuned.
We all like to talk. Well, some of us. Want something good to talk about?
Like what?
Let's talk about him. Oh no, not him. Let's talk about Jesus. Join the Seventh-day Adventist Church in Jamaica from October 3 to 17, 2020 for the online Let's Talk About Him evangelistic series under the theme, I Follow Jesus. Visit the website at www.ifollowjesus.org for free online Bible studies and other resources. Mark the date on your calendars. Share with a friend. And let's talk about him.
The next person in line, your friend at school or your co-worker, may have COVID-19 and not know because they have no symptoms. You, on the other hand, could be hospitalized for 2 months or more if you become infected. Is it worth it? Stay socially connected, but keep the physical distance. Stay 6 feet away and avoid a hospital stay. COVID-19 is not over. Protect yourself while protecting others. A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
right, so we're looking at a practical application of octave registers, right? So, an easy thing that you can do, we're going to look at it on the phone and then we're going to look at it on the keyboard. An easy thing that you can do, so I have my Perfect Piano app open here. If you look, you can scroll over to highlight the different areas of the keyboard. And you will see, I don't know if it comes with this. Do you normally see yes, you see the keys, you see the names of the keys. So you'll see C3, D3, E3, F3, and so on and so forth if you look on the piano. The way to show more keys, you just go to this little thing and increase the amount of visible keys. So it probably comes set with probably 10 visible keys. I think that's the default. But I wanted to have more keys showing, so you can just increase it, right? So let's say you have 19 keys showing. And a fun exercise that you can use octave registers to do is to find your vocal range. So that's what you're going to do at home. You're going to write down, and when I'm doing choir auditions or anything like that, I use this to kind of know whether somebody is a tenor or whether somebody is an alto or whether somebody is a soprano based on how high they sing. So I don't have the ranges all, I usually have them somewhere. I think this range for a soprano is up to C6. Yeah, most sopranos can sing up to there. The official range, but most ladies sing up to probably like A5 and so on. So an exercise that you can do, find the vocal range. So we're going to do that right now. I'm going to find my vocal range, and I want you to do it at home. So I'm going to use my phone first. So I already kind of have an idea, so I'm going to start here. So I'm playing C4. Alright, so I can sing C3. G2. So it's a G2 on the piano. That's not very clear, but I'd say that's probably the lowest note I can sing clean. And then if you want to push it, you can go a little further. No, not clear. So let's say G2. And then I'll go test my higher range. So that's my lowest note, G2. So I can sing C5. G5. Can I sing C6? All right, let's go up slowly. So I can sing C6. Let's see if I can go higher. See if I can hit those Mariah Carey whistle notes. All right, that's the highest note I can sing. So that is D6. So I sing G2 to D6. That is my vocal range. All right, and you can play with it, guys, and don't think that. All right, let me not go into that right now. I was gonna say something about how high guys can sing, because that's a whole nother class, or that's a whole nother topic. So that's a fun little exercise that you can use octave registers for. You right? If you're using a keyboard, middle C is C4. All right. So that's always your reference. C4, and there you go. C5, C3. Everything here would be 2. So let's just write C2. Let's write C6. The human voice is usually in between this range. And I have not heard somebody in real life sing lower than probably A1. If you sing any lower than that, you're not human. Maybe Julian from Humble can sing those notes, but he's not human, so that doesn't really count, all right? So C2, C3, C4, C5, C6. Remember, middle C on your keyboard is C4. You can always know that. So, quick, if you want to test your vocal range, you can just press a note, see if you can sing it. I can sing F2. All right, not bad. So, and then you test the lower range, you test the upper range, and you write it down, and you say, next time you go to an audition, you can tell them, this is my range, this is what I can sing. And you can also test your chest voice and your head voice, but we won't go into that. That's another class as well. So that's a practical application for octave registers. Now we're going to take a look at minor scales and major scales. What is a scale? Question to the class. What is a scale? What do you think a scale is? What do you think a scale is? What do we think a scale is? I'm not going to define it, by the way. I'm just asking you what you think it is. I'm not going to define it. I would say a scale is just a succession of notes. That's all. But we're not going to formally define it, all right? I'm just going to show you how to build the major and minor scales. So within the context of, it's within the context of the piano. So we're going to draw a keyboard here on the board so you can have a visual representation as well as the C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D. Stop. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D. Black key, black key, black key, black key, black key, black key, half a black key. Set of two. Remember from the first class when we introduced the piano, we say you have a set of two, a set of three, a set of two, a set of three. Same thing I'm doing here, right? It's not anything different. It's not anything complicated or complex. It just takes time to get used to. Right. So the way we build a major scale, I'm going to use the intervals. We build a major scale using major intervals. That's it. So if you want to build a major scale, we use major intervals. This is why I introduced intervals first. So, C to D, major second. C to E, major third. C to F, perfect fourth. So C to C is a major interval, all right? C to C. If you play on the keyboard, if you play all the white keys, that is a major scale. Good? So C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. An easy thing that you can use to remember this when it's not really building it, but it's found in the underlying structure. So let's use this, all right? It emerges. From C to C sharp is a semitone. From C to D is a tone. So we're going to put tone here. From D to E flat is a semitone. From D to E is another tone. So we have two tones. From E to F is a semitone because there's no black key in between. So we'll put S for semitone. From F to G is a tone because we have a black key in between. So we'll put tone again. From G to A, it's another tone because we have a black key. From A to B is a tone because we have a black key. So when you're building the major scale, you realize that a pattern emerges. And that pattern is tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. From B to C is another semitone. E and F are the naturally occurring semitones on the piano because they have no black keys in between. E and F and B and C. So if we go from C to C on the keyboard, we just get the major scale. You don't have to do anything else. You don't have to flatten anything. You don't have to sharpen anything. You don't have to do anything. C to C, all the white keys, major scale. Let's look at it on the piano now. We're going to play it and we're going to hear what it sounds like. This is the real thing now. So we go. You can use do, a dare, a female there, Ray, a pot of golden sun. Me, a name I call myself, far a long, long way to run. Do, re, mi, fa, so, a needle throwing thread. All right, I'm not going to play the chords. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. That song from Sound of Music. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Da, 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 da. That's what they call the solfege. The original name for it is a solfege. We're going to be using that later on to kind of sing. Or another song that has that in is, oh happy day, oh happy day, oh happy day, oh happy day. Where they go, la 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 la. It has the major scale in it. La 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 la. And then they change key, la 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 la. But let's not worry about that. But it has the first part of the major scale in there. And a lot of other songs. Most songs are written in what you call major keys, or they use the major scale. All right? So the pattern to build the major scale is tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. What we're going to do at this time, we're going to build another major scale. And then for your homework, this is going to be your work now. You are going to build all the other scales. So we're in the key of C. We're talking about C now. So if we talk about the C major scale, I just throw which one of these isn't working, you know. If we talk about the C major scale, this is the one that's not working. So if we talk about the C major scale, and when we spell it, we always spell in the order of numbers, the order of letters. So we got C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Good? Now and remember we have tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. Now we're going to spell, or we're going to derive. What does derive mean for the younger ones? It means come up with, using the same principle that we just learned before, using this same principle, right? So we're going to derive or come up with the major scale for D. So let's start at D, because that's always 1. Good? So we'll start at home. Good? What we're going to do is, let's go to the keyboard. Let's go to the keyboard and see how it would be built. Let's go to the keyboard. So let's show the piano screen. So we're going to start at D. And remember the principle is, so let's just memorize this a bit first before we even go to the piano screen. Remember the principle is tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. So 2 tones, then semitone, then 3 tones, then semitone. Tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. Remember that. Tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. All right? That's the principle. Now let's start at D and use that same tone, tone, semitone to build the major scale in D. And let's see if we're going to have, let's see if we'll end up with all white keys. Good? We don't want to do anything else. Let's just see if we'll end up with all white keys. So we're going from D. First thing is tone. D to E flat is a semitone, so it can't be E flat. So it has to be E. Correct. So we're done with 1 tone. Let's cross the top of the list. All right? So we'll do 1 tone. So we have E. That's where we are so far. Good? Then we need to go to tone again. E to F is a semitone. So we say, wait, it can't be that, then it have to be F sharp. So we'll go from D, E, F sharp. Okay. So we'll have the first 3. D, E, F sharp. We have the first 3 now. Bam, bam, bam. So we're done with that now. So now after that, we'll go semitones. So we have our first semitone coming up. So we'll go tone, tone, semitone. So we'll just go up by 1 step. And we'll get G. I say, okay. All right, so let's put that in. As a matter of fact, we could even put in all of them, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. So we do tone, tone, semitone. From D, we do tone, tone, semitone. So we're done with the first half of that. Good? Then from G, we need to go another tone. So G to A flat is a semitone. So we have to go up by one more. So we'll go tone. So we get A. So it's not A flat. Okay. All right. All right. We're building steadily. We're done with that. We're done with that. Go to A. We're done with that. So we have two more. We have a tone and a semitone. So we're at A, right? So we're going another tone. Can't be B flat. Have to be B, right? So we'll put in the B there. And then after we have another tone. So we have B and then it's not C, it's C sharp. Because from B to C is a semitone. So we have to go another semitone to make it C sharp. So we have B and C sharp. Yeah? B. Then we have C sharp. And then the final interval or the final step is a semitone. So we go from C sharp to D and we're back home. So we go from D to E is a tone. From E to F sharp is a tone. From F sharp to G is a semitone. From G to A, tone. Then tone, tone, semitone. So we have tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. When we're talking about tone, tone, semitone, don't get it mixed up. We're talking about the space from D to E. So it's the relationship between D and E. That is a tone. D and E flat is a semitone. So that's why we say tone, tone, semitone. Good? We got that? I hope I'm clear with that, I hope I'm very clear with that. The distance from C to D is a tone. Tone, tone, semitone. Tone, tone, tone. You've probably heard this principle before. You'll even learn this in your piano class. And then what I want you to do. So for your homework now, homework. Let's put the homework right in this little box. Homework. You're going to build using the tone, tone, semitone formula. Build all the other keys. So you go start at E, build all the other major scales, sorry. Major scales. Let's use that term. So you're going to start at E now. E major scale, and there you go. You put in your formula first, you go tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. And then you go put in whatever needs to be put in. And you're going to do that for C, D, E, F, G, A, B. All right? That is your homework. So next class, I'm going to be asking you for it. I'm going to be marking your books. I'm kidding. I don't have any. I'm not going to come to your house. Right? So that is the major scale. Let's look at it one more time. Let's hear how it sounds, because this is also important. You'll go more in depth in this in your piano class, but you need to get used to that sound. Most people are very used to the major scale sound already. So it's not that complex, all right? What most people aren't very used to now is the minor scale. The minor scale. So we're going to introduce that. We're just going to touch on it a little bit, just so you can have an understanding of it. The formula is a little bit different for building the minor scale. So pay attention now. So remember, your homework is build all the other. As a matter of fact, not all the other. Build two. Just build two more, all right? You can do E and you can do G, or any two you want to do. All right? You don't have to do all of them. So let's keep that. Let's keep this. we're going to give you a minor scale homework as well. So let's rub this out. Okay. We're going to have another class on this. We're going to have another class on this because it's going to be a good amount. So the minor scale is built using it's built using, if the major scale is built using major intervals, how we build the minor scale? How we build the minor scale, Leslie? Minor interval. Thank you. Thank you. No. This is not a hard and fast rule. Pay attention here because we don't use a minor second. So pay attention here now. The main minor intervals that we use are the minor third, the minor sixth, and the minor seventh. So let's put that in. Let's put that in the definition. How to build in a minor scale, use the minor intervals except the second, except the minor second. Let's put M2, except the minor second, right? So let's build it now. Let's build it. C minor scale. Let's build it now. Take your time and build it with me properly, all right? So let's write out the C, D, E, F, G again. And then we're going to flatten and sharpen as we go along, if needs be. C to D. Remember also we do not use the minor second. So we keep that. So we go say tone. We're keeping the major second. For the Ef, we're going to flatten it. So from D to E flat, you should be looking on your keyboard, or you probably know it by now. From D to E flat is a semitone. So you're already realizing that the formula is a bit different. From E flat to F, well, a fourth cannot be minor or major. A fourth is a perfect. So we keep that the same. So from E flat to F is a tone, right? Then from F to G is another tone. So far we have tone, semitone, tone, tone. Now let's continue. Now. We use all minor intervals except the minor second. So this is a sixth, right? Can a sixth be minor? Yes. So we're going to use A flat. And we're also going to use, can a seventh be minor? Yes. So this is a third. This is the sixth. This is the seventh. This is the second, fourth, fifth. Remember, fourth and fifth can only be perfect. And so on for unison and so on for octaves. So we don't use the minor second. We use the minor third. We use the minor sixth. We use the minor seventh. So to minor, all we do is flatten the note. We flatten the letter. So we say C, D, E flat, F, G, A flat, B flat, C. Good? Let us count the distance in between now. So from F to G is a tone. From G to A flat is a semitone. We're going to show it on the piano, From A flat to B flat is a what? Is a tone. And then from B flat to C is a tone. So how is this formula different from the major scale? Remember the major scale formula? Let's write the major scale formula over here. Major scale formula. To do a quick little recap. And then we're going to write the minor scale formula different. Right? The major scale formula was tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone, right? Tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. Let's look at the minor scale formula now. We have tone, semitone. Difference. Then tone, tone, semitone. I can't take these differences. I don't understand what's going on here. Then we have tone, tone. So we have tone, semitone, tone, tone, semitone, tone, tone. That's the difference. Tone, semitone, tone, tone, semitone, tone, tone. Good? So let's write that in. Tone, semitone, tone, tone, semitone, tone, tone. That's how you build a minor scale. Let's pause here. Let's pause here. Let's pause here. When we talk about minor scale, special note. When we talk about minor scale, you have to remember this note. I'm going to write it right now. There are, well, there are 3 minor scales. Good? 3. How many? 3. So just pause here. Good? The different minor scales are 1, natural minor scale, 2, harmonic minor scale, and 3, melodic minor scale. Good? Natural minor scale, harmonic minor scale, and melodic minor scale. For this class, we're only talking about the natural minor scale. Number 1 for this class. So this right here is the formula for the natural minor scale. So let us just insert that. C, natural minor scale. That is the adjective here. So let's even put it right here. Natural, and we're just gonna put NAT. Good? NAT. Natural minor scale formula. So you have the formula for the major scale. You have the formula for the major scale. Bam. You have the formula for the natural minor scale so far. We have 2 more to look at, harmonic and melodic. But we're not going to look at them in this class. So your other homework is build using the formula, using this formula, build the minor scale for 2 other keys other than C. Other than C, because we already did C. So you're going to use that same tone, semitone, tone, tone, semitone, tone, tone formula. Okay? You're going to do that and build it. Build it for the minor scale, the natural minor scale. 2 other keys other than C. Good? So we're going to play the minor scale now. We're going to play the natural minor scale. And we're going to hear the difference. So we can tell the difference between a major sound, and a minor sound. So this is the difference now. Hear that flattened third? This is major, this is minor. So that's the natural minor scale. Good? Da, 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 da. The natural minor scale. Major scale. Da, 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 da. Some people say it sounds happier. Da, 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 da. And minor scale sounds sad. Da, 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 da. If you want to play, here's a quick little tip. You want to play the minor scale, the natural minor scale using all white keys, You start from A. Pianists know this, or people that play the piano know this. You start from A, and you play all white keys. That's the natural minor scale. So you have, that's one key that I gave you for your homework. You don't have to change anything. You don't have to sharpen or flatten or, you know? So, but for C, C, D, E flat, F, G, A flat, B flat, C. And you hear the difference. Okay? So when we get to chords and all these other things, you'll see, you'll hear the difference in the sound, the quality of the sound, or just the sound of the sound. It just sounds different. So that's it for today. I don't want to dive into too much. I don't want to go too far for one class. So we're going to end here for today. We're going to end here for today, and then we're going to take a look at the other scales in the other class. We're going to look at the harmonic minor scale and the melodic minor scale. So today you did. First thing we did, we looked at intervals. We kind of just reviewed them. Major second, third, fourth, perfect fourth, fifth, minor sixth, major sixth. Good, you should be familiar with those by now. We looked at octave registers, C1, C2, C3, C4, C5, C6, C7, C8. We looked at octave registers, finding your vocal range using the octave registers. And we also looked at the major scale, the C major scale, and the C minor scale. Difference, flatten the third, flatten the sixth, flatten the seventh to get the minor scale. Good? The natural minor scale. The natural minor scale. When we get to the harmonic and the melodic, there are a few differences, not very big differences, but they're used differently, and so that's why we introduce them, okay? So that is it for today. Remember your homework, you're going to build the major scale in other keys. So a little note here. There's really only one major scale. There's really only one major scale. If you think about it, there's one major scale, which is the major scale. The formula is tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. You end up having 12 major scales because there are 12 different pitches on the keyboard, or there are 12 different pitch classes. That's what you call them. C, C sharp, D, D sharp, or E flat, E, F, G, and if you add all of those up, it's 12 different keys. So you end up having C major, C sharp major, D flat major, D major, E flat major, E major. So you end up having 12 different keys, 12. But there's only one major scale, which is the tone, tone, semitone. So that's what I wanted. I wanted to use the formula to build out the major scale for all the other keys. We did C today, so do it, and we did D as well. So do it for two other keys. You can do it for E, or F, however you want to do it. Just write out the letters. If you're starting at E, you go E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E. And then you find which of them would be sharp or flat to create that major sound, okay? And then you're also going to do that same thing for the minor scale, the natural minor scale. We started at C, we go C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, and then we'll just flatten the third, we'll flatten the sixth, and we'll flatten the seventh to get the natural minor scale. And you hear the difference in the sound qualities, you hear the difference. So, come next week, we'll be looking at other scales and seeing how they apply, seeing why they have these names, why is it natural, why is it melodic, why is it harmonic, and everything. And then we'll start looking at chords from there and building further along. So now you see why intervals was that important to really everything that we'll be looking at now. If you don't have a piano, try and get one between now and that time, because we'll be using the piano moving further in tandem with the piano classes that we'll be airing. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something. And as always, remember to like, subscribe, share with a friend. Let us end with a word of prayer. Kind, gracious Father, we thank you so much for life. We thank you for today. Thank you for carrying us to the end of another session, Lord, and for everything that you continually do for us, everything that you have done for us so far and continually do for us. Lord, I ask that you will continually be with us, keep us safe as we may go out on the busy streets, or some people have work, children are on holiday now, so nobody's really at school. But keep us safe, Lord. Keep us close to you, and help us to remember that in all we do, that we should be light bearers for you. So help us not to be afraid, to let our light shine for you, so that others may see you through us and be glorified, and your name will be glorified. We pray these things in your Son's precious name. Amen. So we'll end with what we started with. So we're going to magnify. Can somebody say magnify? Can somebody say magnify?